Hello everyone. In today's session of CCNA series, I'll discuss about static routing. As discussed in the previous session, routers add directly connected interfaces as connected routes. So what if the routes are connected to some remote network or some remote router? This is where we can use either static routing or dynamic routing. Static routes are manually configured by the network administrator and automatically added to the routing table upon the configuration. You can configure static route by using IP route global configuration command. Here you can see this is the command to configure the static route along with the destination and the next hop or outgoing interface, which I will show you how to configure in the upcoming slides. So we have four different types of static route. These different type of static routes are static network route, static host route, floating static routes, and static default route. Let's discuss about static network route. Static network routes are beneficial when connecting to a specific remote network. You can define static route by using the subnet mask of the network. For example, let's say if I have a branch office and I want to connect to some services in the HQ. So our network in the HQ is 192.168.3.0/24 and the network used in the branch office is 192.168.1.0, and to reach the HQ I have to pass through R1 and R2. So for branch offices the gateway is R1, and for example if I want to reach the services, I will create a static route by defining the subnet mask of the destination network. For example, if I want to create a static route to network 192.168.3.0, you must specify the subnet ID and its mask, and also the forwarding instruction by using either outgoing interface or by using the next hop router's interface IP address. You can say that packet destined for this subnet can be sent by defining either outgoing interface or by sending to the next hop address. I'll show you how to configure IP route command using two different styles of forwarding instruction. The first one is by using outgoing interface. Here I have used the global routing configuration command IP route, where I have subnet ID and its mask, and the outgoing interface, which is 0/0/0. And you can verify the same by issuing show IP route command. Okay, in the show IP route command, you can see at the bottom there is a static code with S, and next to that you will see the subnet 192.168.3.0/24 reachable via gigabit 0/0/0 here. The output of this show command also lists another important code as S, which you can see in the code section here. So S means static, which is already shown here. Another type we can use is by using next hop router IP address. It uses the same kind of logic except for using different forwarding instruction. Instead of referencing R1's outgoing interface, it instead lists the neighboring router's IP address as the next hop router. This route basically says that on R1 to send packet of the subnet of router R2, send it to R2's interface IP address to reach 192.168.3.0 network. Now, let's verify this by looking at the show output. Here you can see the static route is again quoted as S, but you can see here 192.168.3.0 network is reachable via 192.168.2.2, which is R2's IP address. Another type of static route is static host route. A static host route is the route to a single host. A network admin can manually configure static route to direct a traffic to a specific destination device, and to create this you have to use the subnet mask as 192.168 host ID along with the subnet mask as 255.255.255.255. For example, if you want to create a static route for the host 192.168.3.10, then the destination host ID and the subnet mask will be 192.168.3.10, 255.255.255.255. Then you can use either outgoing interface or next hop. Here I have used outgoing interface. You can verify static host route by issuing the same command, show IP route, where you have static route defined with code S, and then you can use this either outgoing or next hop IP address, as I said earlier. Another type of static route is static default route. A static default route is a route that matches all the packets. Suppose if you don't have any specific route, if you define default route, it will match all the packets. Whatever packets inside your network, it will match everything. A default route identifies the gateway IP address to which the router sends all IP packet that it does not have a learned or a static route for. And you can define a static route simply with destination as 0.0.0.0/0. Configuring a default static route creates a gateway of last resort. Administrators generally point the default route towards the routing device that has a connection to a network service provider or an internet service provider. Therefore, packets with destination outside the organization LAN, typically destination on the internet or WAN, are forwarded to the routing device with the connection to that internet or service provider. You can verify the show output, in which it will list some new and interesting codes. First, it lists the route with a code of S, meaning it is a static route, but it will also show a star, which means it's a candidate default route. What is candidate default route? For example, a router can learn more than one default route, and then the router has to choose which one to use. The star means it is at least a candidate to become the default route, which means it is the best route. Here you can see the default route is shown by using, as 0.0.0.0/0. Here I have used the outgoing interface option. And above, there is another thing you can see. It says gateway of last resort, and it shows the recently configured default route, which we configured now. That's it for this session. I hope this was informative for you. Thank you for watching.